Today we are here doing my end of the year TBR. Woo! Guys, 2020 has been so long and yet also so short. I don't know. What is this year? This year is absolutely banana pants, but here we are. We are here at the end. And I usually do an end of the year TBR because at the end of the year, I'm like, ugh, okay, I've wanted to get through this, this, and this, and I still need to make sure that that's happening. And I've got these arcs that I still need to sneak in or whatever. And this year is sort of a weird one because I'm actually like, I have one book right now that I do need to finish so that I finish the challenges I wanted to this year. And that is Black Reconstruction in America, 1860 to 1880 by W.E.B. Du Bois. But I'm in progress on that one and I'm on track to finish by the end of the month. Other than that, everything else that I have to read, I've read. Like, I'm ahead on arcs. I don't have any other challenges that I'm planning on actually completing this year. And I've met all my goals, I think. Unless I'm just like really forgetting something, which is possible, but I don't think so. So all that to say, when I was trying to figure out what would be on my end of the year TBR, there's a lot more just sort of like, what do you want to read for the rest of this year? And I think what I've landed on is that there is some kind of like, I should read this-ness still on my TBR. But for the most part, I think that this is a lot of me getting to things I meant to, and there's no real urgent sense of I've got to do it. So maybe we'll start with the ones that are closest to like, I should read these, and then we'll go from there. So I do have this little stack here of books that I got from publishers that I didn't make an obligation to read. So these are like, and most of these are things that I would be into reading. So I think I may try to prioritize these just because they do sound interesting and they were new releases this year I just didn't get to. So first there's a few from Avon Historical. So Beauty Tempts the Beast from Lorraine Heath. Lorraine Heath is a historical author who I really enjoy. She has just like a lovely quality to her prose, and I think she's sort of an undersung gem within historical romance. So anyway, one from her, My Kind of Earl by Vivian Lorette. And I think this is a little like lighter in tone in terms of a historical, but I think that this is maybe sort of like a reverse Pygmalion kind of situation. So this could be fun as a historical. And then I'm very intrigued by My Last Duchess by Eloisa James. This is a prequel to a series from her that I haven't read and I don't think I will, but I like the idea that it's almost sort of like the Brady Bunch if Mrs. Brady only had one kid and was very gun shy about the fact that Mr. Brady had like an entire castle of them. So I don't know, I think that this sounds like it could be kind of a good time, and I really like Eloisa James's writing. Her day job is being a Shakespeare professor, so fun fact there. And then a few other ones. So there's a Christmas novel from Laurie Wilde that looks like a contemporary. I'm always down for a Christmas story. And I guess I should mention, I guess I can talk about the fact that I'm also gonna read Mangoes and Mistletoe by Adriana Herrera. I think this is gonna be our December We Need Diverse Romance pick, but I do really enjoy Christmas themed books this time of year, especially in romance. So I foresee myself reading more of that. Like, I also just bought a trio of novellas from Lindsay Sands, which are historicals. I think it's called My Favorite Things. So I may read that, but yeah, I think I foresee myself sneaking in quite a bit of Christmas themed reading for the rest of the year. Then Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellfleur is a female-female romance that I have heard great things about. I think it's sort of like a rom-com kind of situation. So it came out in November, and I think this is one of the ones I'm most interested in trying to get to. So there's that. The Flip Side by James Bailey is apparently a rom-com, but written by a dude, which is a little bit unusual. So possibly that one. And then The Summer Deal by Jill Chavez. This one came out this summer and I just never got to it, but I heard good things. And I think it's kind of somewhere between a romance and women's fiction. So those are all books that I didn't make a commitment to read, but they came from the publisher, and if I get a chance to read them, I would like to, so I may try to make those a priority. For nonfiction November, like I mentioned, I'm working on Black Reconstruction, so like that's the big one, but the other two books that I'm planning on reading, and I mentioned a couple of times, are The 7 Acts of Courage, which is like a business leadership book, and How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy by Jenny Odell, which is, I think, I would probably characterize this as philosophy, musing on the way that, at least in American culture, we have this propensity to view our time as a commoditizable, unit, and it is very hard for us, especially with the rise of things like social media, to resist having all of our time be productive. So those are both on the docket for me to work on. In terms of things from the library, I should be getting, I currently have the first Wings of Fire book out, which is the Dragonet Prophecy, which is middle grade fantasy. And then I should be getting 2 other middle grade fantasies before the end of the year. I should get the 3rd Percy Jackson book, and then I should be getting the 3rd Nevermore book. So from Jessica Townsend, I believe that one's called Holopox. So when those come up as audio from the library, I will be getting to those. I am currently working on a project where I am reading all of the Ice Planet Barbarian and Ice Home books from Ruby Dixon, which has been just the best. I've been having such a fun time reading those, but I want to finish that up. I only have, I think, 4 or 5 more books I need to get to in those 2 series. And then I think I may take a break, or maybe not. If I'm still on a Ruby Dixon kick, I'll just keep going. But I would like to, I think, try to just polish off all the Ruby Dixon books before the end of the year. And so the other ones I would need to get to then would be the Fireblood, I think, series. It's basically a post-apocalyptic series, like post-apocalyptic Earth, where these dragon-like aliens have invaded, and it's romance, so that should be interesting. And then the sequel to Bound to the Battle God, and I think it's called Sworn to the Shadow God maybe, but that's the other one to get to in finishing off Ruby Dixon. So I may also take that on depending on if I'm Ruby Dixoned out by the time I get through these last few books or not. So that's a possibility. I feel like this is a good time of year to do some graphic novel reading, so I would like to catch up with the latest in the Monstrous series. This is volume 5, and it just came out this fall, the bind up, so hopefully I'll get to that. And then I've been wanting to start a different fantasy graphic novel series called The Wicked and the Divine, and this is the first one in that series, so I'm thinking that these 2 may get worked into things. I love graphic novels as like a weeknight read because it's just the right amount of story and you get to look at pretty pictures after a long, hard day. So these may get worked in. I was trying to think of books that I had started and needed to get back to, and really the only one that came to mind was Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas, which has been a very polarizing book, I think. I know a lot of people really did not enjoy this. I know some people, like, I feel like most people did not enjoy this, and then the people who did enjoy it know that they're in the minority. They're like, this isn't a book for everyone. So I don't know. I was enjoying the vibe of it. I think I got like 50-ish pages in. So I don't know how I'll do with it, but I did start it. So in theory, this is the one that I haven't finished that I should circle back to. Oh, if I get a chance, I also did like the one classic. So I will have met my goal to read at least 6 classics from my 12 classics I want to read this year, but I would love to sneak in Maurice or Morris, depending on, some people think it's one, some people think it's the other, whatever. I would love to sneak this in. Maybe not, but potentially this will get worked in. And then finally, I have like a big stack of mysteries that we'll just run through really quickly. And in theory, I'd like to read a couple of these. Some of these are particularly sort of like snowy. So I'm thinking that the snowy ones would be particularly good to prioritize as we're heading into the Christmas season. So my stack of mysteries I pulled was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is YA mystery described as the Westing game meets Knives Out. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes, so I've got that as a guess of a possible 5-star pick. Death and the Dancing Footman by Nio Marsh. And I would really like to get to this one. Maybe this is one I need to prioritize. This is a country house mystery that is also, I believe, an isolated closed circle mystery where people slowly but surely start biting it pretty quickly and they've got to figure out who. And I think it also is like themed. Like I think it's a themed serial murdering. So that is very much my taste in a mystery. So this one, I feel like I need to try to just make that one happen. Then I've got The Chalkman by CJ Tudor, who is somebody I have not yet read from, but I heard really good things about this thriller. I think this is a childhood serial murderer situation. The children are now grown up and trying to figure out what happened in the past. I think that's what this one is. So I'm gonna give this, I like to go into this book kind of blind. I just sort of want to know overall premise or trope. So we'll see how this one goes. Then 2 hunting related ones, both of which are very snowy. The Hunting Game from Elaine Thurston and The Hunting Party from Lucy Foley. I think this one is a little bit more of a police procedurally thing, and I think this is more of a thriller. But both of these are hunting parties, and both of them have a lot of snow involved, so these might be good pre-winter picks. Another YA mystery is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, recommended by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And another one that I have as a possible 5-star prediction, The Woman in Cabin 10 from Ruth Ware, is a variant on an isolated close circle mystery from her. Based on the fact that I'm one of the only people who really liked One by One, I'm pretty hopeful that I will enjoy this as well. So another possible 5-star. That one is on my prediction list. And then finally, The Black Jersey by Jorge Zapata Patterson. This one is such a cool premise, which is basically a serial murderer on the equivalent of like Tour de France type bike competition. So I think it's kind of a variant on an isolated closed circle mystery where someone who is on the trail, 23 days, 2,000 miles, 1 killer. So like someone who is on this biking competition is killing off other people. And I think that that seems like it would be really fun and a different type of premise than I've seen. So I'm excited about this one as well. So yeah, I'm hoping I'll get to at least maybe 2 or 3 of those. I have time. I should be able to slot them in. I feel like I have a lot of mysteries right now on my TBR in physical form, and I'm not doing a good job of getting to them. So like, I'm trying to prioritize that. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking for end of the year TBR. I think I have found this year, I need to do some reflection about planning for next year in terms of TBRing, because this year was kind of just a shit show a little bit for all of us. I think for me, I've struggled figuring out the right balance between having some level of direction, because I do genuinely find that helpful, like when I'm sort of at loose ends, not knowing what I like should pick up, like it helps me to have some level of direction. But having too much direction then starts to stifle me. So I think I've got to figure out in this coming year how I can leverage TBRs for good and not for stress in my life. So I'm gonna spend some time mulling on that as I think through 2021 goals. That's something I don't know if you care about, but I care about. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can set challenges and have a little structure to my reading, but not get too wrapped up in that just because life in general has been so up in the air in the last year or so. So anyway, that's at least what I'm thinking for the rest of this year. I don't even need to think about 2021 because I haven't finished out this year. But anyway, let me know if you've got any plans of things that you are hoping to polish off before we get to the end of this just glorious year that has been 2020. Let me know that below. And yeah, I think that will do it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that will do it. I hope you are having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye.